You've got a good job here in England at Broadmoor Hospital.
Yes.
It's a well-respected place to work. What made you decide to leave all of that and to volunteer to go to Sierra Leone in quite dangerous circumstances?
Well, I believe that I have knowledge, skill, but also I have a passion to help people, vulnerable people. And I have been involved in charity activities since, I think, 2002. But this time around, when the call came, I saw that not a lot of people were volunteering from here. And it dawned on me where Christ says, when you do any of this, you have done it for me. And given my background, me myself, I was adopted and cared for. And I thought maybe I have to do something in order to fulfill a passion in me that I'm helping someone that is less fortunate than myself.
Why specifically this Ebola issue, and why specifically Sierra Leone?
Well, I have got a background in Sierra Leone. Originally, we come from Sierra Leone. When the call came, I speak the language, and I saw some of my colleagues who have volunteered to go and work there. They don't even speak Creole, they don't speak the language, but they have the desire to help. So I went there, and it was huge advantage to the organization, my involvement, because they could see that a black colleague can come to them, talk to them, and actually ask them to come to hospital. So that changed for most of them coming to hospital because of our involvement.
Now, you had 6 weeks of intensive training.
Yes.
Before you went to Sierra Leone.
Yes.
When you got there, how valuable was that training?
It was very valuable. You know, we trained in York with the British military, and they were so methodical. Everything has to go through a specific step, which is valuable, because with Ebola, like I've always said, Ebola doesn't forgive. You need to go through that step in order to be safe. So that was valuable. But even when we got there, we had more training. What happened was, when we got there, what we saw was a little bit different from what we have trained with. So we needed time to adjust, and of course the weather was very challenging. Sometimes 33 degrees, 40 degrees, and when you wear PPE, you are sweating, losing fluid in a short time. So we needed time to adjust and get to that. But the training is valuable, because without it, not a lot of people will survive. Because if you don't go through the method of donning and doffing, you always get contaminated.
That's the equipment, that's the training. The essential thing for you was the people. Tell me what it was like to actually be involved firsthand there. We watch it on the television, we've read the reports, but we're distant from it. What was it like for you to actually be there?
Sometimes being there made me a little bit, well, not a little bit, but emotional. And also, as I can see myself actually doing something and finding that immediately there is a change. Somebody's life is changed. There was this particular guy which I discharged on Christmas Day. When he came, he had given up hope. An educated man, he had given up hope. He followed the things I've explained to him, the processes, medication he needs to take, because in Sierra Leone, people have got this information from the social media that Ebola is a white man's disease. They've brought it in order to take people's blood, to do experiments and things like that. But that changed with our involvement in the community. So when I spoke to him, he went through, took medication, went through the process, he got cured, we discharged him on Christmas Day, he was very happy. And in fact, he became a spokesperson for us, because he was ringing relatives, colleagues, asking people, anyone sick, to come to hospital. And suddenly there is an increase of in people coming voluntarily to check themselves.
We read the reports and we're very impressed by what the NHS team and so many other teams have gone to do in Sierra Leone. Don't you kind of feel though you're just a drop in the ocean?
From a distance, maybe that's how people might look at it. But I think it's a valuable contribution because even before the British military got there, there was no structure in place. In most of the places I visited, like in the north, in Port Loko particularly, you have what they call command and control, which the British actually set it up. It wouldn't have worked if they were not there. Some people have got knowledge, but they don't have the resources. Some people have got resources, they don't have the will. Whereas we had the resources and we had the will to do it. So that makes a difference.
What are you doing specifically with the community?
When a patient comes in, when we get a referral or we have a command center that somebody is confirmed to say this person has got Ebola, they bring them to us for treatment. The treatment, we don't just do it in isolation. I actually find out about their next of kin or relatives. We have to find out brothers, sisters, cousins, aunties, uncles and nephews, where they are. Because 99 out of 10, out of 100, they have been in contact with these people. When people get sick, usually it is the women and little children or children who looks after the sick. And so by so doing, those people are getting it. So once we get the main person, I try to go into the community to look out for those. They might be in denial, but most of the time we catch them before it becomes worse.
So you volunteered your time, your expertise, but there were shortages out there. You found yourself actually digging into your own pockets.
Yes, when some of the patients we discharged from hospital needed clothes. Sometimes we have children in the center that needed toys to play with, doll and things like that. I remember a little girl, I think of age of 8, she wanted a doll to braid hair, and because she has lost everyone, she's lost mom, dad, uncle with this Ebola. So all she wanted when you come to the center is to cuddle her and then she will braid this. So I find myself using my own money to provide these things. Because of contamination, the clothes are destroyed. The things they have get destroyed. If you take in mobile phone, for example, you don't take it out. We wash it with chlorine and that will be no good. So everything you get, you lose. So when you go out, you need to have new set of clothes to wear. Otherwise, you're going to come back. The people around you might be at risk, really, because we understand that patients who have gone through the treatment get some immunity, but we don't know how long that immunity will last.
You've been out there 2 months, you came back for Christmas, you've reunited yourself with your family, and now you're going back out again. Why are you going twice?
Well, my trust is very understanding. When I volunteered, we went there. It was initially for just 8 weeks, but then there was a request for me to continue to work until end of February 2015, which when I explained to the trust, when the request was made, they have gladly said, okay, we can allow you to work up to that time. But you know, they have a rule, the SOP, standard practice is that when you do 5 weeks in clinical area, like because of the stress and the trauma we go through, you need to have a break for 2 or 3 weeks, and that's what brought me back to England. So I came to have the break, and then I will go and finish the time that was agreed. I have to really be thankful to God. I will pray and thank God that I've gone and I've come back home safely for that day.
And that safely thing is perhaps where you've got to think about your family.
Yes.
The time you're out there, you're at risk. Mm-hmm. You came back on the same flight from Sierra Leone before Christmas that Pauline Cataly was on, and there's obviously
actually I mean, we know the disease process. I don't want to talk about her, but when we came, we sat on the same chair, on the same row. She sat on my left, I was in the middle, and I have another colleague on this side. But I mean, there was nothing wrong with me. I wasn't, I mean, my temperature has been normal. I have been going out exercising. So by the grace of God, I think I'm a Christian, so I think the blood of Jesus covers me for everything I do.
And it is that grace of God that keeps you going.
Yes, the grace of God keeps me going.